In this video, I'm going to introduce us to the idea of work in thermodynamics. So work is performed on an object when the object moves some distance d due to the application of a force F. Mathematically, it's the dot product of the force vector and the displacement vector, and so therefore is a scalar value. So what we're looking at here is we're applying some force at some angle right here to this object, and so then it's going to move some distance from 0 to d, and so then we just take the dot product of this force with this displacement vector right here, and so that gives us the work. We can see that F equals ma, that the force units, which is kilogram meters over a second squared, and the displacement, which has units of meters, that work therefore has units of kilogram meters squared over second squared, which is just the definition of a joule, where joule is a unit of energy. This tells us that indeed work is a form of energy. What this definition tells us is that, in a given gravitational potential, lifting 10 kilograms by 1 meter takes the same amount of work as lifting 5 kilograms by 2 meters or 20 kilograms by 0.5 meters. So remember, we're just multiplying the force it takes to lift this amount of mass by the distance that we actually move it. And so 10 times 1 is equal to 5 times 2, which is equal to 20 times a half, and so on. By convention, we say that work is greater than 0, meaning that it's positive when work is done to the system, and that work is negative when work is done by the system. So the way I think about it is that if work is being done to the system, it's like we're sort of putting energy into the system. So we're sort of putting work into the system. Whereas if work is being done by the system, then the system is actually doing work on the outside world. So the system is actually putting energy out into the world. It's putting work into the world. And so we can think of work and energy in general as sort of this fluid that can move into and out of the system. And so the convention here, again, is just that work is positive when it's being done to the system, so you're sort of putting work into the system, and it's negative when it's being done by the system. So the system is sort of losing work into the surroundings, so it's putting energy out into the surroundings. And you can also think about this, like if I do work onto the system, that will make the system start moving more, so I've put energy into the system, whereas if the system does work on the surroundings, then the system will slow down, but whatever it's doing work on in the surroundings will speed up, and so you've put energy out into the surroundings. So the work energy theorem then says that work done by all forces acting on a particle equals the change in kinetic energy of the particle. So you can see that work is equal to the change in kinetic energy, which is just the 1/2 mv squared. So we take the 1/2 mv squared for the final velocity of our system and then subtract off the initial velocity. So we can see that if work is being done to the system, then this final will be greater than this initial, and so work will be positive. Whereas if the system is doing work to the surroundings, then the final will be less than the initial, and so the work will be negative. We can also look at the work done by a potential energy well. So the work of forces generated by a potential energy function is known as the potential energy, and the forces are said to be conservative, meaning they are path independent, which essentially just means it doesn't matter how you got from point A to point B. All that matters is the difference between the energy of point B and point A. Therefore, work on an object that is displaced by a conservative force field, for example, the gravity field on Earth, which is shown over here on the right, without change in velocity or rotation, that's what this dv equals 0 here means, without change in velocity and rotation, is equal to minus the change in potential energy of the object. So what this is telling us is that work done by the potential here is equal to the negative of the potential energy of the object. So the way we can think about that is this. As we are lowering this object down, there is work being done onto it by the potential. Just to cut in here, this is me from the future as I'm editing this video. I left a clarifying annotation that said that the work done on the system is equal and opposite to the change in potential energy, but I thought this could use a little bit further explanation. So this figure right here maybe not even be the best way to show this, but the way that I thought we could think about this is it takes more work to go up a hill than it takes to go down the hill. So you can think of, as you go up the hill, your potential energy is increasing, but you're doing work work, so you're losing work energy. And so that's equal and opposite to the change in potential energy. Similarly, as you go down the hill, then you are doing less work. It's obviously not a perfect analogy because you have to lift your legs and things like that, but we all know that it takes less energy to go down the hill. So you're reducing your potential energy, but you are gaining work in that case. So again, we can think of this as sort of equal and opposite. Another analogy might be that as you go up, then you are sort of depositing work energy into this potential energy fund. And as you go back down, you are withdrawing energy from this potential energy fund back into work. But anyway, I hope that was a little bit more clarifying. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. In thermodynamics, the work we often study is in the changing volume of a system. So if we look at this piston here as our system, we can think of a frictionless piston with some amount of gas N. So remember, in our ideal gas law, N is the amount of stuff we have at some starting pressure P1, volume V1, and temperature T1 with an exterior pressure P exterior, where the P exterior would be, for instance, like the atmospheric pressure. If the piston moves upward, then it is doing work on the surroundings. So if this is moving upward, then we're doing work on everything around it. The infinitesimal work done to the surroundings due to an infinitesimal change in volume is going to be this dW here equals minus P exterior times the change in volume, where the negative sign is to show that work done decreases the amount of energy in the system. We are always interested in the point of view of the system. If we put this in terms of pressure, we can see that this would be valid as well, since we would have that the work is equal to the force divided by area times the volume, which is just the force times the displacement here. And so again, this is just our definition of work. If the piston moves inward, then the surroundings are doing work on the system, and the amount of energy in the system increases. Since the volume decreases, we therefore have that the displacement is less than zero, and so the change in volume is less than zero, making it so that the work is greater than zero. And so remember, that's what this negative sign is doing right here. And so the system has gained energy. So this is the summary of this. We start with our initial conditions here. If we then compress it, we are doing work on the system, and so the work is greater than zero, meaning it's positive. If we then expand this, then the work is being done to the surroundings by the system, and so the work is going to be less than zero or negative. We then add up all of these changes in work here to get the total amount of work done. So we're just taking the integral of this P exterior times the change in volume. If the external pressure remains constant, then what we get is that this is just the exterior pressure times the change in volume right here. This will give us units of atmosphere times liters, which can be converted into pascals times cubic meters, and so that is just newtons per square meter with the pascals here. And so we end up with joules as our units, so it's just newtons times meters, because what we're doing is this square meters here multiplied by this cubic meters here leaves us with newtons times meters, which is just the definition of a joule. So the conversion ends up being this right here. Let's say that we have a piston that starts from an initial volume and pressure of 2 liters and 8 atmospheres and goes to a final volume of 5.5 liters against a constant external pressure of 1.75 atmospheres. The work is therefore going to be this. So if we just plug this into our equation here, where this is the change in volume, then we end up with minus 621 joules, meaning that the system lost 621 joules because it was doing work on the surroundings. The final pressure we can then calculate using Boyle's law, and so that gives us 2.91 atmospheres. We can also get free expansion, and so this is when we are expanding the gas from something that contains the gas into something that is a vacuum. And so that means that the external pressure would be zero, where this would be the exterior right here. This would be our system. We open up this valve and let the gas expand into there, and so then we end up with the gas spread out throughout of it. And since it was going against a pressure of zero, which was our external pressure, that means that no work was actually done. So this is kind of a special case of this expansion of gas. But anyway, that was everything I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you found that helpful, and I will see you in the next one.